Uh, got it.
Yes, sir, Junior.
All right. Welcome to the History of LA Ska one-on-one sessions. I'm your host, Junor Francis, alongside my good friend for many, many years now, Eric Kohler. This series celebrates and aims to preserve and promote the ska, rocksteady, and vintage reggae scene in Southern California and beyond through insightful conversation with legends and modern day talent, including those behind the scene. And lots of people are working behind the scene to make this very successful. So whether you listen to this podcast series or watch us on YouTube, a big thank you and much respect. Please remind your friends and your relatives and yourself to subscribe. EK?
Yes, Junior, thank you. On this monstrous episode, we present our Latin Ska Roundtable Part 2 episode here with special guests. Gentlemen, you're going to correct me if I mispronounce anything, but Jaime Hernandez, a.k.a. Senor Kalaca of Ocho Kalacas. And
hello.
Yes, and Jimmy Mercado of Red Store Bums. Welcome, gentlemen. We really appreciate you taking the time. Yes. Junior?
Yes. Red Store, did we work at that venue? This is totally unrelated. Didn't we work at that venue in Ontario? Did you guys play, I think, one of those nights?
No, you know what? I think what it was I just happened to come around. I was, I think I might have been following the Quinto Sol movement at that time, and I seen them post it, and I came through. But yeah, I've seen Junior. I've seen you bring a lot of great artists from all over the place. So yeah, I know that when you're there, it's going to be a great show.
Right, man. Thanks. I was just wondering. I don't know why I'm thinking that we did work at that venue that we were talking about off here in Ontario. Well, let's get started. So let's start by having you guys each introduce yourself.
And Junior, real quick, it looks like we are going to have a third and very special guest here joining us. So
as luck would have it.
Once he pops in, he can introduce himself. But before then, how about Senor Kalaca?
Hey there, Jaime Hernandez here. Thank you for the invitation. I'm honored to be here with you guys tonight. And yeah, lead vocals of so-called Ocho Kalacas, Ska core band. Thank you.
Nice.
So what you say, so-called?
We're local. We're in California, and you know this movement is just getting bigger and bigger. So
right.
Yeah.
You guys have tens of thousands of followers.
How about you, Jimmy?
Yeah, so I'm Jim Mercado, Jimmy Lion, Red Store Bums, aka RSB, RS Bums, also Inland Empire, ska, reggae, and yeah, that's me.
Nice, welcome. And he made it.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing?
There it is.
I have band practice.
Hernandez.
I just left band practice. I completely forgot. Sorry, I apologize.
No, that's okay. We know you wear many hats that we're going to talk about tonight. But on that note, why don't you respectively introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Azael Hernandez. I played a band that first started everything for me in La Pobreska. And then from there, I started Concrete Jungle Entertainment. I've been doing that for 19 years now. And then I just opened Concrete Jungle Studios about a year and a half ago, which is pretty much, we're about to launch a podcast here soon too. It's a recording studio, rehearsal studios. I have a whole print shop for merch and everything. Wow. We rent bands and everything for traveling bands, and it's also a place to let people stay here that travel, that tour. So
that's amazing. And where is that located?
It's located right here in the city of Cudahy by Southgate.
Oh yes.
Right, so it's 4,000 square feet. It's right here, right in the heart of Atlantic and Firestone. You know,
I grew up in Downey, so it was just a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, definitely. It's something we've been wanting to do for a while, but we finally did it. You know.
Yeah, well, that's great, and
yes,
and welcome, and thanks for joining. So we were talking a little bit off air about this, but now that we're full on interview mode here, I'm gonna repeat this as well. So Junior and I felt that part one of our Latin Ska Roundtable. Several months ago, we had the pleasure of talking to Jose Padilla, Madamo Ska, and Bernie Leos of Los Kung Fu Monkeys, and it was really great, informative, and insightful. But it only scratched the surface, and so Junior and I really wanted to quickly get back in and do part two, given the importance and popularity, as the three of you know more than we do, of this broad subgenre and just the vibrant scene. So we really appreciate you three taking the time to talk with us tonight.
Of course.
So I think I did ask to introduce yourself, which you did, right?
Yes.
Right. So everyone did that.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So
where were you guys born and raised individually?
Perfect.
All right, start here. I was born in Mexico, and I came to the States a long time ago. I've been here most of my life, and I grew up in A18, the Valley, but 22 years ago, I moved to Orange County. So that's where I met my bandmates, and that's where Ocho Kalacas started. We are proud to represent Orange County.
Nice.
And right. Do you go back and forth to Mexico?
We have done a lot of tours. We've been to Mexico a lot. We have a big following over there.
I can imagine.
We just came back like 2-3 weeks ago. We did Chile, we did Colombia, and we did several states in Mexico.
Wow.
But yeah, it's been great. Mexico always waits for us with arms open, and we love to go over there and visit over there and do what we do, and just play our music. We love to do that.
That's amazing.
Nice.
Jimmy, how about you?
So I was born in LA. I was born in East LA, actually, and I was there for my young childhood, and then eventually moved over to the Inland Empire, out into a little place called Moreno Valley, that neighbors to Mead Valley, and that's kind of our band kind of originated. We were all high school friends, so we kind of. My older brother was a big inspiration for me. My older brother is the singer and guitar player for La Banda Calavera. So the guitar player in the band in Red Store Bums was actual trumpet player for La Banda Calavera. And so it was kind of like a little subdivision there, and we kind of, very inspired by, there you go, right there, La Banda Calavera.
Junior and I did a show at the El Rey in 2006 that they were part of, but sorry.
I was probably in the pit at those times. We were RSB, originated from all high school friends, and I've been out in the Inland Empire since I'd say about 8-10 years old, something like that.
Nice. Last but not least.
Well, me, I'm right here from Los Angeles, California. Pretty much raised in Southgate, California. Then from there, I live in different cities, but most of my life is Southgate. And then pretty much as a senior, it was what, 2005. So they asked me to join the band. I said no for 6 months. I didn't want to play brass anymore in my life. I was over it. I was doing this at 7 years old because my dad plays music. So he plays sax. He did music for 45 years.
Wow.
So pretty much I was just pushed into it. So when I came on this side, my mom's side of the family, like Southgate had no music programs, so I didn't do no music at all. And then as a senior, my drummer, Felipe, which started the band La Pobreska, will harass me for like 6 months. Man, we need a brass player, Then I finally said yes, joined it, went to our first practice, and fucking loved it. And the rest is history, man. I was like, this is different. I loved it. I was a fan. At first, I studied the scene. Like one of the bands, like our first show was with La Banda Calavera, Upground. Who else was in there? Also, Las Quince Letras, and then Chocolate Cadavers. So that was a very learning. Like that was a big show, in my opinion. Me for a kid coming into the scene. So pretty much, I was a big fan of the scene, studied this, big fan of everybody. I was a little kid. I would just get everyone a song, put it in a little CD, mix it, write Ska Volume 1, Ska Volume 2, Ska Volume 3, you know, and just fan of everyone. I remember I had Jimmy's old demo tapes. It was a live arrest for bumps. That was the old school thing. That was cool. Everyone was doing those live performances back in the day, and I still have all that stuff to this day. I have a nice collection of all of everyone I grew up listening to, you know. And
so on that front, if we talk about one of the questions we like to ask our guests is kind of your gateway or baptism to Jamaican music or ska. So like did and let's start with you, Jaime. Was your gateway through punk or reggae or rock en español or other Latin rhythms or nothing, none of the above?
I was big on psychobilly, rockabilly.
Okay, yeah.
But before that, I listened to a lot of rock en español, and we have the Fabulosos Cadillacs.
Yes.
We have La Maldita, and we have Tijuana No. They're veterans.
Yep.
And little did I know that was ska. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when we got into the scene and I started making music, I started knowing a bunch of bands. Friends recommended a bunch of their taste of music, and I just fell in love with it. Like I didn't know I was listening to ska, because for us, Fabulosos was just rock en español. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now that I learned that, that was a movement, that was like a whole thing, like the ska movement, and I loved it. I fell in love with it, and I mean, I listen to everything. I keep my ears open to all kinds of music. Yeah, I'm just a fan of music. And I remember when Azael invited us to one of his first shows 20 years ago in Long Beach, and he was like, "You guys down to play a show?" And we're like, "Why not? Let's do it." Yeah, I actually, I'm so glad to be here tonight with you guys, with Azael and Jimmy, because we've been together doing this for like 20 years or more.
Wow. Right. That's amazing that the three of you go back 20 years.
Yeah. We started almost at the same time.
Right.
Ocho Kalacas started in 2003. I don't know, Restaurant Bombs, when you guys started?
Yeah. Same time.
We started 04.
And La Pobreska started 2004. So yeah, it was like the movement that happened during those years.
Yeah, and we're going to touch on that too here in a second. Jimmy, over to you as far as the gateway and kind of your entry point.
Yeah, so I mean, the fusion with us is very, very diverse, between the members of, with our influences. I think that, I grew up as a kid, I'm sure all of us as musicians have a wide variety of likings in the music, but I grew up listening to a lot of Spanish music, like, Jose Alfredo Jimenez and Pedro Infante, stuff like that. And then the transition into the reggae, ska, for me was through reggae. Reggae music was a big influence, and it continues to be a big influence in my life. Started with, Jamaican, the African reggae, then the Spanish reggae, and it's transitioned. For me personally, I think that, with the rest of the band, it was very similar with the ska, a lot of like the Sublime stuff, just that route. But I think for me personally was, through reggae is where I transitioned into the ska.
Nice. Okay.
So
great to hear.
I agree with both of them. Like, so for me, I didn't know what ska was. Like, to be honest, like I was listening to bands that were titled ska, like how you said, Fabulosos, Sublime. I was a big Bob Marley fan. I went through my whole big Bob Marley phase, like up in there every day. And then it's crazy. From my dad's side, I grew up with a lot of salsa, merengue, cumbia, because that's what he did for a living. And then I went through my whole rock phase, listening like System of a Down, Red Hot Chili Peppers. But then, like I said, Sublime for me as a kid, it was a big influence. It was a big band for me. Reggae, and then also like Fabulosos when they're Maldita, and then Panteon Rococo. That's a lot of the bands I grew up listening to as a kid. And then once you get into the scene, it just breaks into so much more like music, and it's a beautiful thing. But it's just like, it's hard to keep up with everybody. But like, it's funny, I just didn't know what ska was, but then here we are, right?
Yes, sir. So, question for all three: what was your first live ska show you attended? And so I'll break that into two. One traditional for the sake of understanding the roots, meaning Jamaican ska, and then American and perhaps Latin.
Who wants to
So
start?
which your first?
Jaime?
My first ska show, let's see here. Wow. Jamaican. I had the pleasure to play with Skylights.
Oh, nice.
And
It doesn't
so
get
yeah,
any bigger.
and then I got to see them here in Fullerton, which is like next to me in Orange County, at the Sly Bar.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, yeah. And then I always loved Tijuana No, which it was more like a ska court type of thing, together with Maldita Vecindad, and that was my first, I'm gonna say, live shows that I attended.
That's a hefty one.
Yes.
Jimmy?
Yeah, I think for me, we got to perform with the Skylights as well, which was an amazing, I had grown up watching a lot of YouTube videos of them, live recordings of them performing, which was awesome. And then, out in this way, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, my brother, George from La Banda Calavera, as a kid, probably about 14, 15 years old, he's the one that transitioned into the ska. So, my first shows are basically watching them, and then, learning about, Maldita Panteon and Fabuloso Cadillac was one of his biggest influences. So that's kind of the route that, we were kind of drifting. And like Jaime was saying as well, you start to learn about, the scene that, not so many people know about, you start learning about more artists and that.
Yeah, cool. Next up, is that
well, for me, it's gotta also be highlights. Well, like when I saw them as a kid, it blew my mind away. And then when I got to book them, that was like also another shock for me. I was like, that's cool, So like that band is amazing. It's amazing live. It's one of my favorite bands to see. As far as like Mexican style, I enjoy seeing Inspector. Inspector is a great band to see live too. And then I saw this Russian style band. It's called Raskasha last year. I saw they were amazing. They blew my mind. They played with Foggy Molly at the Hollywood Palladium.
Really?
Yes.
And what are they called?
Raskasha, Russkaja. They are amazing. They will blow your mind away.
I'll check them out.
They have a couple of female artists in the band.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen them on YouTube. Yeah.
They are
Wicked.
I'll check them out. Yeah, that's cool.
Nice.
Nice. So, at what point were you guys made aware or realized like there was a burgeoning Latin ska scene? Jimmy, because of your brother, right? You probably saw it in action, right? But maybe Jimmy, start with you then. Talk about around what year you started realizing that like there's an actual, scene here that's growing.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like I had mentioned as a kid, 14, 15 years old, going to, what were backyard shows. There wasn't a whole lot of venues that were available for the ska scene, the Latin Mexican ska scene out here. So as the scene started to grow, I started to see the magnitude of, the fans, and the scene started growing. And I've met a lot of, it's funny because you see the age gaps in the scene. And when I was young, I remember talking amongst the older people, and they were like, "Hey, the ska reggae scene, it goes up and down, man. It goes in the '80s, it was big, and then in the '90s,
Ebbs and flows.
yeah. So I remember, I'll never forget that. But for us, it was very, very strong in the backyard shows, and then little by little, we started, as we got older, more venues started becoming available to us. For our band, along with Ocho Kalacas and La Pobreska and La Banda Calavera, the venue started getting a little bit bigger for more capacity, and that's when I started to see the magnitude of the stuff, the scene itself.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. Jaime?
To add to what Jimmy said, little by little, doors started opening for this scene for our bands. We started playing. We went from playing backyards to playing like birthday parties to venues. You know what I mean? So it took a little bit of time. I feel like we've been working hard, but it's finally paying off. Now that the scene is huge, like you can have 2-3 bands in LA at whatever venue, and it's guaranteed that you're gonna have full house. And I feel like it keeps growing.
Yeah.
And every time I get into like the social media, I see new bands, I see new kids making new music with a bunch of new ideas, which I love it, because I'm all about keep growing, you know what I mean, and keep creating new music. And I feel like this is just, it's gonna keep growing. It's not gonna stop, because there's over, I don't know, 300 bands that I know that they're local to LA, not only LA but Riverside, all, like I mentioned earlier, SoCal. So it's kind of like the Valley, Riverside, Pomona, Orange County. And I mean, I don't know if I'm correct, but there's a lot of bands out there, like, and it keeps going and going.
That's amazing. That's so great. Yeah, expand upon that, as to maybe from both the band standpoint, but also from a promoter standpoint. Azael.
Well, for me, it's a little bit different because well, pretty much I was out there first for my band, kind of like trying to like get out of the market or doing cool stuff, reaching out to venues and trying to like open doors for us, like pretty much I was very inspired to do a lot of things with that. And luckily I met a lot of cool people that help open doors for me, as like going to Orange County, doing like the Galaxy, then it became the Observatory, and then doing the Yale's Theater, and then expanding to Riverside. Even though there were scenes there, but it was hard to get venue shows that like where we could like be proud of something. You know what I mean? There was always the backyard scene there for us, like like parties. I remember our first show was a family party, so that was funny. Got all that stuff, and like pretty much from there, like as the years went on for me, I was doing it for my band, but then I was also doing it because I started Concrete, helping a lot of bands. Like a lot of bands would reach out to me asking like they needed help with shows. They were trying to do cool stuff, different stuff. So that's the main reason when Concrete started. Like a lot of bands reached out to me, and so pretty much I couldn't do it under the Pobreska umbrella. That's why we did the Concrete Jungle to help, because we're all friends. Like Jaime, like Jimmy, we're all friends. Like it's a bunch of us. Like we grew up as kids, so it wasn't just playing the band. We all grew up on this stuff. We'll hang out with each other. There's more than just being in the band. So a lot more reach out to me, and from there, I will help try to do stuff and expand the market. Well, it's crazy. Like everywhere we went, there was already seats. There was already bands anywhere you go, but it's just there wasn't like somewhere, like a home base, somewhere where people accepted us. Like that's like the best way. They thought, I remember the Galaxy, a lot of people, when I went to legit venues, they said there's no money in all age ska punk shows. That's what every owner or talent will tell me. So I had to prove them wrong. So I had to do
as you did.
Yeah. So they would make me jump through hoops, like pay double the rent, double this, like earn those, get Sundays, like horrible days.
So were you primarily sorry to interrupt? Were you primarily like a 4-wall rental?
Yeah, everywhere I went, I rented. Everywhere I went, I rented. It was crazy what we would do just to make it happen. But every venue I go, I rent. Now it's a whole different game. Now,
oh yes, sir.
Now everyone's like, come here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I got like 12 venues.
You have some leverage. You have some
yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Back then was signing contracts, putting down deposits, doing this, meaning bar guarantees. Now we sign no contracts, we do no deposits, we do nothing. They all know we're good for it, and they open doors like nothing now. You get me?
And it's a good feeling.
It's a great feeling.
Feel good.
But
it's an accomplishment.
Well, goddamn, they put me through
I'm sure. So what was the year that Concrete Jungle actually started?
07. 08, 2008.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 08.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. And then, first show was with Kalacas. It was the return of Pobreska, ONK, Above Ground. And we were in the band called Selfish. It was at the Volt 350. And we bought and Voodoo Glow Skulls. That was my first show. And we did 750 people. You get me? And everyone was happy. It was great. And then from there, it just took off. To be real with you, we were doing maybe like a show every 3 months, and then it became one every 2 months, and then one a month, and then 2 a month, and then 3 a month, 4 a month. I think the most I've done in 1 month is probably like 16, 18. So and then we expanded to different genres, different things, but it's all under the whole underground music scene, ska, funk, psychobilly, rockabilly, everything. But ska is my main influence, which I love. Well, I would tell you, like, what we had to go through, and like took bands like Restore Bombs, Kalacas, Pobreska, and many more, for us to bring the people and to prove like these guys wrong. Yeah. And for them to be like, all right, we would love to have you guys back. But it was like, it's crazy. To see where we're at now, it's beautiful.
Right.
You get me?
And when you say those guys, essentially you mean club owners,
talent buyers, owners that
right.
just thought we're a bunch of like punk kids,
Yeah, right.
That just a bunch of kids. That's what they really thought we were. To be real with you,
Yeah.
They didn't believe in ska. They didn't think there was a market for it. They didn't think there was money for it. So they will pretty much be like, well, look, if you pay this, I think back then I was paying $3,500 a night, like most of these venues, and that's a lot. You're talking about a $10 ticket. You're talking about you got to at least have 350 people just to pay off the venue, and then you can start paying your talent after that.
Right.
You get me?
No, talk about risk and
yeah.
Been down that road.
Yeah, Junior can relate. Yeah. So one more question for all of you, and then we're going to dive specifically a little bit deeper with each of you. So it seems as though, and we touched on this briefly, but it seems as though, and this is just from Junior and my research. So please correct us, but. So like in the 90s, and we're talking Southern California, in the 90s, you had late 90s, if I'm not mistaken, La Banda Ska Olivera, but even before them, right, there were a handful of Latin ska groups that also helped kind of lay the foundation. So right, so if we're not mistaken, bands like Chincha Barinches, right?
Yeah.
Los Olvidados.
Yeah.
Los Olvidados.
Who are a few others that
Pizza Letras.
Okay. Yep.
Viernes
13.
Right. Even Left Alone, right?
Yes, Left Alone. La
Resistencia. And even a band like Voodoo Glow Skulls, right, did seem to have done a lot for the right?
Second
Yeah.
Court was the big Mexican influence that had a big influence in LA.
Okay, yeah.
So where bands like Veronis 13 and La Banda Scadalera fall on this list?
Well, Vienna Station, from what I
Okay,
hear,
first or second way?
what do you mean? What happened?
Where do they fall on the list that Eric just rattled off?
Well, those, I mean, from the 90s, right? So because I think what we were getting at is like, would you consider that kind of like the first
wave? Yeah.
right,
For us, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you guys part of that second wave in the early, right?
Yeah.
The mid 2000s. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So first wave, early 90s, early to late 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you guys think spawned some of those groups in the 90s to start?
I mean, I think, you know, for the most part, you know, those bands as well, I mean, that they got the musical background. It's you know, an outlet for, I think, everybody and anybody in the music industry. You know, for us, you know, music is just a way for us to express, you know, what we're going through, the times we're going through, our feelings, you know, and that kind of stuff. And we bleed it out with music. And I think that ultimately is where we all come from when it comes to creating music. You know, the sound, the lyrics. It's, you know, one's you know, feelings poured out into the music. And I think that's, you know, where the backgrounds come from. It varies, but I think it's all united with that one, you know, feeling and what we're going through.
Yeah, I like that. I think you're pretty spot on with that. And then what do you think it was around? So if you all started around 03, 04, what kind of sparked, right? And I know that you each have different stories, but like, what do you think sparked that next wave of bands to start?
If I may, I think it was the need of letting people know that we're here and this is who we are, and we represent this side of the town, this side of the hood, and to hear our voices, you know what I mean? And with everything that happened in life, like Jimmy said, it was just like, for us, well, for me, it was like trying to show people who we are and where I come from and what we're about, and the best way for us to do it was through music, and it just happened, and we were lucky that people started liking what we were doing, and 20 years later, I'm here talking to you guys, you know?
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
And making a living.
Try. It's hard. It's not. It hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy.
No,
I know,
Like Azael said, we've
yes.
been through a lot. You know, like a lot of no's, a lot of no, you can play here. No. But then again, we had people like Azael that opened doors for a lot of bands, including ourselves. And you know, I gotta take off my hat for him. Yeah, and the movement that he started, we all started together.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I thought was a big that helped us as coming up. I feel like the Allen Theater gave us a voice.
Right.
It gave us just the place to let that, our feelings or how we felt, our music, you know, it gave us a place that we could call home.
Yep.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I think without the Allen Theater, I don't think we'll be here. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Allen Theater in Southgate, right?
Yeah. So I'm very grateful about that place.
Azael, while you're talking, what have been some of your proudest moments with the band?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, man.
What's the proudest thing with my band?
Yeah, some moments that you're really and truly proud of that you can share with fans.
Some highlights.
The Victoria Ska Fest,
Oh, right.
We went
Yeah.
out there and we headlined one night and we sold it out. That was pretty cool for us. Um, Mexico City, when I took 4 bands under ourselves, a lot of the Mexican
Wow.
bands were not happy that we were out there and we were put on top of them. So we said, let's do it ourselves. And it was Ocho Kalacas, Mafia Rusa, La Pobreska, and Rivers. And I said, you know what, guys, let's just do it ourselves. And I think that was a very, very big thing for us. What would you say, Jaime?
Dude, that was amazing. Like for
Wow.
for us to be a garage band, like you say it, like just a bunch of friends making noise. Because when we started, we were just making noise. We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
For us to be able to do that and get together with 4 bands from here and take the risk to go to another country and take this movement,
Yeah.
take it to Mexico, and not only that, the response we had from our Mexican fans was like huge,
Yeah.
and that's a big highlight. Yeah, I agree with
So
Zal.
what year was that?
I want to say 2016. 2016 or 15, yeah, I think 16. No, what do you think? 16?
16.
17. And I remember we did Monterrey, and we did also, what did we do? Querétaro?
We did Querétaro,
I
Monterrey,
think Querétaro we did like 1,500 people. And then
Mexico City.
I think we did like 3,000 people in Mexico
Wow,
City.
that's crazy.
Yeah. And yeah, it was very amazing, and it was crazy. Like you see it, like when we all flew together. You see, we're talking about flying 20, not like 44 people together.
We took over the plane.
We took over the whole plane. And it was funny. Just like we're just all messing around with each other in the flight, but it was surreal. You look left, you see this
Musician.
guy, you look to your right, and then it was just like it was crazy.
It's almost like having your own private jet.
Yes, yeah. I would say that was as a band and as a promoter, but also like those were all my brothers, so
Yeah,
it was very proud moment for us.
I'm sure.
Ourselves, that was very
cool. Who are the core? Just because we don't want to leave them out, who are the core members or current members of La Pobreska?
Well, the last, I want to say there's 3 originals left. It's me on sax, it's Abraham on the guitar, and then we got Marcos trombone, which is now also second vocalist. That is that's the 3 original. And then everyone else has came in throughout the years and stuff. But it's always grown. It's always gotten stronger. I've always, as some people leave, and it's my job to go find the musicians. Like it's always, luckily, it's always made us stronger. The band has never gone down. So, and like finally, we're gonna release this album in about a month, a new album. So that's gonna be big for us. And we're gonna start touring the whole U.S. We're gonna start doing a lot of stuff. So I'm pretty much next year, I'm gonna have to. You'll see us on the road a lot, so it'll be kind of hard for me to be here as a promoter and then run also the studios and then also be on the road at the same time. Let's see how that goes.
Unless you can figure out how to clone yourself, but yeah, that's
Hopefully we'll figure that out.
Get a copy or something.
yeah.
I just leave Jaime in charge.
Right.
I just got to shave, and then I'm ready.
On the Concrete Jungle side of things, so you mentioned you went from the occasional show to at the height you said, like, I forget, 16 shows a month, but so on average now, like, what's an average month, the number of shows that you do?
Well, I just did 2 DRI shows this whole weekend. And then I had the guys from Toxic Holocaust, they stayed with me. Then the week before that, I did the House of Blues. We did 1,500 people at the House of Blues. That was very special for us too.
Yeah.
And then what did we do right before? Then we got Scalloween. I got 2 Scalloweens coming up. And then next Thursday, I fly out and we play Denver on Thursday. And then from there, we fly out to Houston. We play Houston on Friday. And then we fly out to Chicago. We play the festival in Chicago. And then Sunday, we're in Vegas. So averagely, monthly a show. October's always the craziest for us. We do about 18, 20 shows. But
and why is that so?
because everyone, it's like the month where everything's just alive. Halloween. It's like a lot of bands are touring. There's a lot of events. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. It just always has turned out to be a very heavy, like packed month. Like if you see it all across all the music, like it's always a lot of
heavy touring.
Yeah, a lot of heavy touring in October. And I think because you know why? Because I think they try to push it in before the holidays because they already know November, December, no one wants to do anything. Everyone just wants to eat, But yeah. So that's I want to say that we average about 6-8 shows a month. But then it could just jump up to 15, like nothing. But besides that, we also record a lot of artists here. We record like almost every day. We're recording somebody here.
You're kidding.
So when did your
talk about that song?
Yeah, touch on that more.
So this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and Jaime knows this. When I used to like help run with the Kalacas guys, I will always talk about I want to open my studios. And then pretty much my guitar player had this warehouse that he wasn't using, and he said, and I pretty much said, let me take over. And then he just told me what the mortgages, and I came in with my team. We built walls, knocked walls, made rooms, painted ourselves, did the carpet, everything. And then just bought all the recording gear, everything, and then bought all it's a rehearsal studio too. So we have a couple rooms that bands could use. So we have to put all the gear and everything. But then after a while, a lot of bands reached out to me and said, hey man, we're looking for a lockout. So right now, I have the Rascahuele boys. They're one of the rooms. And another room, I got Union 13 TSOL, which is another big legendary band. And then I got some young guys that are very hungry in the ska scene called Undisputed World Champions. They're in another room. They have a lockout. And then right now I just have 2-3 rooms that I use when people need to rehearse. And then I have my recording studio. So that, like I said, that started 6 months ago. Wow. So since then we built it, finally all done. And so my goal is I'm gonna record a compilation. I always think compilations are very good for music. So I always want to do one, but myself, not just a bunch of people, throw me a song. I like come here, I'll record for free under here, and just come out with new music, It sparks the scene, it gives life to the scene. People love new music, and I'm doing it for free. Where it doesn't cost nobody a dime, So yeah, but also I'm also letting bands like a chance, like a hub. It's pretty much I look at it as a hub. Like you need shirts done, here you go. You need to record, here you go. You need place.
So you print on site as well.
Yeah, I have a second floor. And we do like all the Pobreska merchandise. We print ourselves here: hats, sweaters. Wow. Jackets, everything. You know what I mean? It's because I was just tired of outsourcing.
Yeah. Complete production.
Yes, a complete production. A one truck stop.
All you need now is a restaurant.
We are opening one with my cousin in 6 months, so you'll be invited to the first dinner.
Oh no, that's amazing. If you see Adrian from Rascahuele later, tell him that we're gonna get him on the next one of these part 3. Yeah,
he's here almost every day.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. We've known Adrian for a while. No, that's fascinating. Congratulations on all that. I mean, that's so. When you mentioned your team came in,
well, I came in with my cousin, my brothers, the Pobreska.
You have people. There's only so many hours in a day, so you have people.
Yeah. Luckily, I have a lot of people that actually like me and glad to come out and help me.
People that can help you.
Yeah.
Because they see you going somewhere.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
When the boat leaves the harbor, man, everybody is aboard.
Yes. But it was a beautiful thing. You guys should come out. You guys are welcome. Check it out.
Yeah, no, we'd love to.
Yeah,
That's, yeah.
Congrats. Yes, absolutely.
And pretty soon, the next thing for us is the podcast. So we want to start the Concrete Jungle podcast. Like a fusion also was like one of the rooms we're gonna build it out for, like they could do like a live song too.
Yeah.
So like a nice kind of something different, not just your, like a nice fusion of. You guys remember Flash Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like with all the smokes, with all the fog,
Yeah.
like something like that, and then with the whole podcasting, and then talk about. I feel like a lot of people don't touch. Like I feel like as a fan, I would like to know like how's the tour life, like behind the scenes and stuff.
Sure.
Like I feel like that would be very cool to talk to people and let people hear that love your band, like get to know the band on a whole different perspective.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So that's something that I'm working on next. So let's see what happens. But besides that, finally came together. Here we are. So like I said, you guys are welcome to come whenever you guys want.
We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Hats off to you. Questions now for Jaime, Senor Kalaca. Junior, you want to take the first question there?
I guess you could talk about the formation of the band in 2003 in OC, Orange County, behind the curtain, taking ska behind the curtain. What a bold idea.
Yeah, we started in 03. Like I said, we were just a bunch of friends that we knew each other and we love music. We had that in common. And we started messing around with instruments. I remember we were friends with the guys from La Penca, which is another band from here, from Orange County. And after a show, I think we went to see Manu Chao in Anaheim. And after at Jesse Fandango's. So after that show, I invited everybody to my apartment. Good old days. And everybody came over to my place. And I always had a bunch of instruments laying around, mostly like congas, timbales, like light percussions. And I remember the bass player from Gabriela Penca, what's his name? Forget. Bass player.
You're talking about, it's not Louis, sir, is it?
No, Caesar. Caesar was like, yeah, Cesar. He was like, dude, so you play in a band or what? I said, no, I just like music. And it's like, would you like to be part of a band? And I was like, I'd love to be part of a band. And he was like, all right, see you Wednesday at this spot. And so here comes Wednesday. I show up with my instruments, which it was nothing. It was just a pair of fucking bongos. And we started playing around with music. I started to know more people, and then Ocho Kalacas came alive in 2003. And now, well, you know, time flies, time pass, and now there's only two original members, which is the two vocalists, which is me and Headset. But the band, the new members that we have now, new but not really new, because we've been together for over 10 years.
Okay.
So that's not bad. A decade is long, yeah.
You could say new, but basically they're not new. They've been with us for a very long time. But yeah, the band itself has been together since 2003. It's 20 years. 20 years.
Happy anniversary there, yeah. So and your band, I read this online. So your band has been described as System of a Down meets Slipknot meets Social Distortion in a So yeah, I'm sure you've seen this. So which is quite the accolade and quite the right. So but what does that mean to you when you hear that? Is that accurate?
You know what? It's crazy, and it blows my mind that to hear that and to hear that and those to be compared to those huge bands. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, we never thought this is are we gonna sound like this, or let's do this so we sound like this band or other band. We just got together and did it, and it happened, and you know, it's been working out for us. We have a little bit of our hardcore
Yes.
together with the ska, together with metal, and incorporating the horns. You know what I mean? So it's a mix. It's a mix of a lot of influence from everybody in the band, and this is it. This is the result of all those influences.
Mhm. So, you know, congratulations. This year's your anniversary.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
turned
2023, 2003,
yeah, we
2023.
turned 20 years in March.
Yeah, man, fantastic.
So yeah, thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Mhm. Wonderful.
Yes.
Yes.
Junior.
No, you go ahead, man.
Okay. So do fans of Ocho Kalacas, and this is, I'm generalizing some, but nice to know, do your fans differ from fans, we're talking core fans of bands, you know, like for instance, the Red Store Bums, La Pobreska, Matamoska, Rascahuele, just to name a few. Are there more similar fans or like more crossover, or do you guys have, maybe because you're a little more on the metal side, a little different?
No,
I think
I-
I think Ocho and Pobreska have very similar fans. More similar fans. There is a crossover between all three of us.
Yeah.
And even Rascahuele and all that. But I would say we have similar fans between, out of anyone, the most will be Ocho and Pobreska. Because we're the heavy ones.
Yes. Okay.
Like Red Store Bums, you know, they got Jimmy, so all the girls come to town. But yeah, it's a little bit different. But but we also have our own fans. But there is a crossover. But I could say that every time Ocho and Pobreska play at the same time, same bill, it's you see all the
familiar faces.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of familiar faces, fans. Actually, our very first gig that we ever played was with La Banda Calavera. We actually opened up for La Banda Calavera outside like a coffee shop. It was like kind of like a Starbucks. I think it was before Starbucks. It was in Fullerton, and I remember opening for La Banda Calavera. And throughout the years, we played together so many times that I do believe that we kind of have some of the same fans. I mean, just like me, I love Restaurant Bombs. I love La Banda Calavera, La Pobreska, and it's totally different music, but at the same time, it's like the same. I don't know how to explain.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I get that. Yeah, and I would think if there's a show that includes the three of you, right? Or then you add, and you've done this with Concrete Jungle clearly, but like if you do a show where you also have Steady 45s, right? Or
those,
you know, or Delirians or any one of the more traditional bands, right? Then you're going to incorporate some from the more traditional scene, right?
Yes.
So you kind of widen it, right? And you do a good job of doing that. Yeah.
So on this subject, as you mentioned, to follow up what you said, Eric, $1 million question I'm asking all three members: what is it going to take to bring the traditional with, I guess, Mexican ska? For lack of
We've done it. We've done it. I mean, I think we should do it more.
Here in Los Angeles?
Yeah, we put in like a lot of them, a lot of State 45, a lot of that. Well, I know what you mean by more traditional, like what you guys.
No, both. So you get the traditional and you get the Mexican ska.
Well, maybe it takes like a person like you guys and me, and we put a plan together, you know?
Yeah.
You You know, I like it. I
But
think
there's a need for that marriage because a lot of
yeah,
the newer listeners are now coming from the Latin side, not the traditional side.
I think that's the best thing. We put like all of it together. I think it's a beautiful thing, and it works out. Everyone gets new fans.
Yeah.
Fans, hear new sounds that they didn't think would be. So I think that's the best thing.
Yeah, I think there's a need and a necessity. I think there's a need and a necessity for that.
Yeah.
Marriage.
Touching base on something you guys had mentioned earlier, like very a memorable moment. For me, one thing that I've seen throughout the years is, growing up, watching, going to shows, going to backyards, going to venues, the scene constantly growing. There was some sort of not necessarily a disconnection, but there was a separation between the fans and the bands. And one thing that I absolutely loved and I would take in, and that's one of like my moments, is the camaraderie between all the bands behind the shows, behind the scenes. And to marry the fans, that to me is like, it's like gold, because I know that, the friendships that I've created with Jaime, Kalacas, and Pobreska, and all the other bands, it's an amazing feeling to go up there and, have that energy and then absorb and transfer energies from the fans. And it's just an amazing thing. So definitely needed. And it's overdue for that marriage of traditional with, the Latin ska, because I think it'll just get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why the band members unite is because of the struggle that you guys have gone through over the past 2 decades and beyond to make this music what it is at present. The fans may not be aware, but you guys know the struggle, enormous struggle, the difficulty, dealing with promoters, booking agents, and so forth and so on. The rejection constantly.
Yeah.
So that forces unity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
True.
Great point. Yeah. Jaime, one last question, and then Jimmy, we're gonna go back to you. I know that you touched on the one highlight playing Mexico City, but what other highlights for your band?
Well, as crazy as it sounds, we just came back from a tour with Cradle Filth, which is a total different genre. You know what I mean? It's like a black metal band,
Right.
One of the biggest black metal bands, and we had the pleasure and opportunity to open for them. And at first, we seen on our social media a lot of like kind of like negative stuff, like really Cradle Filth with this ska band, like they didn't know Ocho, of course, because it's a whole different scene. But the minute with the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes into our set, I saw everybody shaking their heads. I saw everybody cheering, so that was pretty special. And yeah, I can get over that. Like, and like Jimmy said, to add to that, it's kind of cool to see different types of music, like Junior said, kind of like get together and form like unity. You know what I mean? I'm always up for that.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So,
and where was that concert, for the record?
We did. It was 12 dates. We did South America, we did Colombia, we did Chile, and we did 9 states in Mexico.
Congratulations. Yeah. That's great.
Wow.
It was great. It was good. It was a good tour.
Yeah. So a lot of those fans was like, perhaps I'm speculating, the first time they really heard ska.
Yeah, they probably thought that I don't know, they were probably gonna get bored with listening to ska, but then once they heard the type of style that we got, I don't know, I guess they were happy. I saw everybody smiling, so that was a good thing for me.
Yes. That's the way to roll.
It was surprising. It was surprising.
They will not be bored watching you.
No,
Yes, nice, man, nice. Mm-hmm.
Junior.
So we're up to now, Jimmy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to ask about share some of retro band, you know, place the band was born, some of the big highlights that you've experienced and the band has experienced. How many original members are still with you? And how do you keep band members? A whole bunch of questions in one.
Yeah,
How do
yeah.
you keep
So
band members, prevent them from leaving?
yeah, so throughout our beginning, like I'd mentioned before as well, we were all high school friends, you know, just you know, going to shows, going to backyards. And that was kind of the original beginning of our roots. You know, we got together. It's funny because, you know, we were all high school friends, and the original members were the guitar player, David, the bass player, Albert, and then one of our good friends, we call him Biker. That was a drummer, and they actually made, you know, a cassette with 3 songs. It was the first 3 songs Red Store Bums ever made with no vocals. They didn't have anybody to sing. And so they came to my house one time, and they were like, "Hey, we got 3 songs. Do you want to sing?" And I was, yeah, let me hear it, you know. And so yeah, threw it on, and it was a song called Bums, So, and I believe Tumbleweed. And yeah, I mean, from there it was just, you know, we created music, you know, and I think, you know, the highlights that, you know, for me personally, I can't speak for the whole band, but me personally, like I had mentioned, just the experience that I've lived through the band and through the music. I mean, I'm a social butterfly, man. So to go out there and talk to anyone and everyone, you know, is been the highlight in my life. I don't think that, you know, there's, you know, all these people in this world can live their lives, but not experience the things that we as musicians have experienced. I mean, the natural high that you get on stage to perform, able to perform the music you make. You know, for me as a vocalist, you know, I play instruments as well and created a lot of the Red Store Bums music, but, you know, for people to sing the things that I was going through, my feelings, and, you know, word for word, that to me has been the biggest highlight. You know, the friendships that I've created, the bands that I've gotten to perform with, that to me is like the biggest highlight. No matter what, you know, I can take that and say that the vast majority of people on this earth don't experience the things that, you know, us here at the podcast have experienced, you know, which is an amazing feeling. And that to me is the biggest highlight for me personally. And yeah, I mean, I think that's on my behalf. You know, I can't speak for the band, but that's my biggest highlight.
Some great philosopher once said that music is the highest art form. It moves emotion that nothing else can. So when you talk about what you experience on stage, I don't think a doctor, a lawyer, or a teacher has that experience. It's because it, you know, comes from music that cannot be found anywhere else, not in the arts.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, being
music
up there
alone, music alone can bring that emotion.
Yeah.
So when you make your song, you're on stage, it's unsurpassed with majestic beauty, unsurpassed.
Yeah,
It's
no, definitely.
It's something we won't understand.
Yeah,
We'll never understand.
Yeah, you know, the music, you know, it's, you know, I'm sure, you know, based on what you're saying there, it's like, it's the magic that music makes, you know. It's like, you know, no matter what you're going through in life, you know, you can put on this tune, whatever it is, whatever genre, whatever, you know, around the world, and it's going to make you feel some type of way, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Music alone.
Yeah.
Jimmy, who are some of the other non-Latin ska groups that Red Store Bones have shared the stage with over the years?
You know what? There's been you know, a good there was a band, man, you know, there's so many that we've performed with, but you know, there's the Poland brothers, what is it?
Warsaw Poland Brothers.
Yeah, Warsaw. Oh man, those guys. I remember seeing them in Riverside one time with the Debonaires, and Warsaw blew my top, man. That kind of that was one of the bands where I was like, wow, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think that they were a big one for me. I like the traditional, and Yeah, I can say them. I mean, there's so many that I can go down. I'm sure I'm gonna miss a lot, but yeah, the Warsaw, the Debs, the Debonaires.
Shout out to the Debonaires. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
we've worked with those
founders
guys a
and
lot over the years.
Definitely, definitely. You know what? Another big one that we got to perform with, that's not the Latin ska reggae. That was, like I mentioned before, to me, a big influence was reggae on my part. We got to perform with Alberosi. That was
Oh wow!
huge. Yeah, at the Catch One. That was a big one for me too. I was fangirling. But yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah.
and when was that? Was on his last tour?
What's that?
Was that on his last tour? I know he came through recently.
Yeah, I think it was a couple years back. It was a
Oh, a
couple
couple
years
years
back.
back. Okay.
One in LA. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that's
Yeah,
great.
man. Nice.
Um, so question for all of you, and you touched on this from kind of the brotherhood, so to speak, and kind of love and togetherness in amongst the bands, right, and musicians, for by and large from the scene. So is it safe to say that there's not, or maybe it's a healthy competition, but there's more unity than friction, so to speak, throughout the scene?
You know what? Yeah, just if I can start off by saying, what I was touching with the back with what I was saying is, I did in the beginning years of Restore Bums, it did feel like the stage with the bands was somewhat of a competition, and I remember speaking to a couple bands. There was, like I said, the majority of us were all friends, because of it's just by default, right? We get to start seeing each other more often, and we get to learn who we are, and we start becoming, good friends. But I remember, there was a sense of some sort of competition up there, and I remember having a conversation with one of the members of one of the bands, and I was telling him like, hey, this isn't a competition. We're there, the fans are there, and they're kind of hanging out out there, and then us as musicians backstage, this is kind of like our hangout time, so let's be good, and I did feel like there was some sort of competition, and I think that through the years, we've gotten to perform with more and more of each other, and become stronger and stronger friends with the years.
Mhm.
Is that do you Jaime, do you have anything to add specifically to that point?
I mean, be honest, every time I get to see the guys at shows, I'm always happy to see everybody. Um, I don't think we ever have beef with anybody. I think we've been able to get along with everybody. Yeah, of course, there's always you know things or social media and stuff like that, but I so far we've been friends for, like I said, almost 20 years, and I have never run into like a bad situation. I don't that I can remember. If anything, every time we get together, it's like Azael can tell you, every time I see Azael is like I give him a big hug. When I see Jimmy, I give him a big hug, and it's all
Big
good.
party.
We're like brothers. We're like a family, because I mean
Yeah.
that's how I feel. Like I feel like a family, like a musician family, music family.
Right. So Azael, from the promoter standpoint, I mean, clearly what you operate and book and curate and work so hard at with Concrete Jungle Entertainment, throughout that scene, there's also Evacor, Adrian, who we mentioned from Roscoe. I know he definitely used to. He still may do some promoting, but how is it amongst the promoters in the scene?
Me and Adrian, we love each other. Honestly, I'm cool. I'm cool. Some people feel different, but among me, I like to be just work. To be honest with you, you know, there's some people have difference of opinion. It's okay. But some it's just I don't think I think that I've seen every market, each scene as like the metal scene, psychobilly scene, reggae scene area. Unfortunately, not all promoters get along with each other. Let's be completely honest with each other. rivalry or competition. Some people don't like competitions. As far as my part, I'm good. Like I'm good. I'll gladly work with anybody. I do work with out of all the promoters. I work with most promoters, and I help a lot of the local promoters also too, like with booking bands and stuff. So as far as my part, I'm good. I'm very good to go. Like I said, Adrian's my brother. That fool's here with me. If I had a problem with Adrian, he wouldn't be in the Concrete Jungle Studios. But we support each other. We support each other. Anytime anyone reaches out to me, like I'm all about it. So it's all good.
Nice.
But yeah.
Yeah. Junior.
Huh?
Oh, I wasn't sure if you were going to say something.
No. Not this point.
All right. So I'll take the next one. Many believe, and I'm one of them, that like the Latin ska scene is like the new rock and Espanol, just by the vibrancy and how big and how it's growing. Do you all agree with kind of that assessment?
I think it's pretty strong movement, and to be compared with the rock en español that happened in the 90s, which was huge. It's cool that, and I think that we have the potential, all the bands have the potential to like make it even bigger. Now with social media, and you're able to be everywhere, like we have fans all over the world, you know what I mean? So I think, social media is a big help for all the bands for, that we're participating doing this. And I think it could be big as rock en español.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what is it going to take to sustain that momentum?
New music.
True.
Yes.
Jimmy, you were going to say something else too. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was saying I think ultimately, it doesn't matter in the Latin ska scene. I think every single one of us has that rock en español influence. We all came from that. I mean, traditionally, I think we do have that. So it's definitely transitioned. It's still very, very much alive. But yeah, I mean, I think the ska scene is transitioned. It's continued to grow, like Jaime said, throughout the world. And I think that, for it to continue to grow and move in the right direction, I think that, something along the lines of what Junior was saying earlier is a fusion, right? Is the unity between all scenes to create that. And also what Azael was saying as far as new music, right? The artists to continue to make the music. It's a combination of all those things, right? I mean, if we're making music, the camaraderie between all the bands, the promoters, the good vibes, right? Ultimately, I think that will continue to bring in people from the outsides, right? The outside genres, and bring them in to the ska scene.
Bring them in the fold.
Right. Yeah. Junior.
Yeah. So as we move, now that you guys have all attained legendary status, 2 decades and growing, are there some new bands out there that you think we should keep our eyes open and you want to recommend up and coming bands that you think are doing well, whether here or across the pond? Well, Mexico, the border, Latin America.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for me, on my part, I remember, years ago, we were out in Mexico, and for us, we haven't been out in that area much. But I remember there's a huge ska scene out there with. I remember one of the bands that I hadn't heard of, and this was in probably about 3 years into Red Store Bums. We were out there in Tijuana, and we played with La Coyota, and La Coyota to me was a huge influence on my end. They're bad. But yeah, I mean, in the scene here, there's a lot of bands. There's a lot of talent, and one band that's already surpassed who they even are is Blanco y Negro. To me, they're man, those guys are so dang talented. I mean, for me, the younger guys, I'm an older cat in the ska scene here, but those younger guys, the Steady 45s, the Delirians, those guys to me, those guys are, man.
Some talent for sure.
Since
Yeah.
it's just a happen to skip across the border, why is it that you haven't toured more in Mexico? And you mentioned Tijuana. Why you're not more frequently, Jimmy?
You're asking
Why
me?
you're not frequenting? Yeah, why you're not frequenting Mexico more? It's just a happen to skip, right?
You know what, for us, I think it was, we struggled a lot with members. I think that for the most part in 2007, 2008, from when we first started, we created lots of music. And then right around 2008, we started to lose members for, just so many things. It's funny because we lost our bass player and we went through like 3 different bass players throughout the years. Up until recently, did our original bass player come back into the picture after about 4 or 5 bass players. Drummers, same thing too. Kind of, I felt like we had like a bad go around with musicians at the time, and it kind of just hindered our ability to create music, our ability to record music, our ability to tour. And I think that's what kind of slowed us down in the aspect of touring itself.
Mm-hmm. So what's in store for 2024 now that you have your core members together, your bass players back with the band?
Yeah. Great question. Yeah, no, I think right now we're focused on creating. We have, about 2 albums worth of music that we never released. So it's kind of like, all right, let's get back into the studio, record, not so much tour and perform, but let's get in the studio, record the stuff that we never got to release,
right,
and release that, and then get back onto the drawing board and create more music. I mean, there's so many ideas just between the bass player, the guitar player, and I. There's, a repertoire of songs. We have so many ideas that we saved to create, 2 to 3 more albums just on individually. So I think the game plan for us for 2024 is to come out strong with, we're about almost done with our 2nd album, and then, to record the 3rd and 4th and just release as much music as we can. I think that's one thing we can leave for the fans is the music.
Right.
Now is the time.
What's that?
Now is the time.
Right.
Yes.
So, Jaime, what about you?
In regards to,
I guess as far as if there's any newer bands that people should be on the lookout for, that you're taking a liking to, so to speak.
I really enjoy the Stadians. They're from LA.
Right.
Yeah, I like what they're doing. I like La Muerte. I love their horn section. They're pretty strong. I like the cumbia of Get All Fire. That they mixed like cumbia and ska and rocksteady together.
Yep. I'm taking notes here too.
Yeah. Those I could say, watch out for those guys. Yeah, for sure.
Nice. And what about you, Azael?
Man, got an hour?
I know. I'm sure there's a lot that are on your.
No, but I agree. One of my favorite bands to see musically and the way they do it is Blanco Negro.
Yeah.
Like, they used to rehearse my old studio, so I'll get to see those guys all the time. Those guys are very talented guys.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm big. I know they're about to release a new album, which is completely done. So I already know it's gonna do well for them.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of those guys. But they've been doing it for a while now,
Yeah.
As far as new, oh man, kind of hard. It's just like so much out there. But I agree with him. I like Get On Fire. They were doing really good for a while. They were doing their thing. So hard. It's because I'll be completely honest. I listen to a lot more international.
Okay.
Bands like that Sasha band. There's a band called Dubiosa Collective. They're a Bosnian ska band. I listen to Mio Torres. They're from Puerto Rico. I listen to a lot of Japanese, also ska cubano. I listen to a lot more different stuff. I don't know. I like to try to get out different influences and stuff.
Right.
But locally, I would have to say I love black women. I love what they're doing. It's very refreshing. They
Yes.
have that traditional. They have that little bit of Mexican, and they just do it right where it keeps you.
Yes. So
away.
So on the sticking with the international side of things, so from a Concrete Jungle, from your promoter standpoint, the shows that you do, what percentage of them do you bring in international artists versus work with local artists?
Well,
How often?
For a while, I was bringing a lot, but because of COVID, it stopped a lot of the international stuff for me. Like it stopped everything. So, like right now, like next year, like I'm doing Bad Manners. I'm doing the visas again. You know,
Right.
we got Sector Court coming in maybe at the end of this year, beginning of next year. Like that's something I do also promoter. I pay for the guys' visas, and that's
Wow.
That's a process.
Yeah.
You're talking about 6.5K just to get one band out here, and then from there, then you still gotta fly them out here. So yeah. So for a while, I was doing a lot. But now, like this year, I mostly get just like a lot of agents hitting me up on tours.
Yep.
So I do a lot of bands touring. But like a lot of the more international stuff is on the whole I want to say metal psychobilly or like punk stuff, you get me? But yeah, as far as like ska, it's really hard, you know. Everyone has their ties with certain people, so respect, you know, they like to go with certain people. But like I got to do Scatolites, I think it was last year. Yeah, last year. That was really cool. But next year it's gonna be big for us. As far as for both Concrete and Pobreska, because we released an album at the end of this year. We're gonna do the whole Sector Core tour for them because it's been like 10 years since I've been here. We're gonna do a whole Bad Manners run. Pobreska's gonna tour their stuff. And then I'm also bringing No Violence in the May. That's my big festival where I bring punk bands, ska bands, psychobilly bands, I'll throw some cumbia bands and everything. So I'm looking for a new venue right now that can fit about 2,500, 3,000 people each night, and I want to do 2 nights of that. So
in the greater Los Angeles area.
Yes. Yeah. So you know, I'm talking right now to Observatory, House of Blues, and Belasco Theater, seeing which one makes sense to host it at. You know, but definitely I want. That's the festival that I like, where I bring everything that I do under one show, and it works out. It sells out every time I do it.
Yes.
Love it.
And sorry, what is the name of that festival?
It's called No Violence Music Fest.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
It started because of you know, something happened in the show where, you know, someone got hurt, and so it was pretty much, it was like it was a fundraiser to help raise someone that got really hurt. That's why we called it No Violence. It was called No Violence in our scene. I changed the name to No Violence Music Fest just to make it a little bit more open to music.
Nice. Well,
so, yeah,
I think you're through. Yeah, I think we're nearing our destination. Huh? Anything else you guys want to share with us that we haven't touched on?
Jamie, will you just touch on what next year looks like for you?
We have a lot of plans. One of our plans is Europe.
Oh, wow.
And we are going to start working on new music. Our label is already wondering what's going on with the second album. So yeah, we have to get busy in the studio. We got to go back to the lab and start making new material for the next album coming up. And hopefully one of our goals is to be able to go to Europe. And we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah. Wow. So
pretty much it seems as if next year is going to be a really and truly a monumental year, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be busy. It's going to be busy. So it's all a blessing for us.
Yeah. All 3 bands.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then Concrete Jungle has, you said, a Halloween show coming up?
Oh, Ska Halloween.
Yeah. And where is that and who's on it?
That's gonna be the first night it's in the New Romanos in Riverside, and the LA one is gonna be at Catch One. There's gonna be all three venues, all 3 rooms. So I'm supposed to announce that tomorrow. So as soon as we finish here, I gotta get it back to some agents and finalize everything. But this year's kind of cool because we're putting some punk bands, we're putting some psychobilly bands into it, but it's gonna be bigger this year. We're gonna do about 30 something bands, 3 stages.
Wow.
You're gonna see a lot of old bands that you haven't seen in a long time, like like how it was back in the good old LA theater days. So yeah, so that's the next big one in a couple of days.
That's amazing. Wow.
Wow.
So as Junior asked, anything that we've not covered, obviously there's only so much we can get to, but this has been extremely insightful, and I've really enjoyed this and appreciate you guys taking the time here. We know how busy you are, but this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
No, thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here with you guys tonight. Thank you.
And Jimmy, anything else that we haven't touched on that you wanna make sure to share?
No, I mean, I think that this whole podcast was awesome. I think that if we can take anything from this, is definitely creating some sort of fusion unity between all the genres of ska. Man, that'd be awesome. That's something as a kid that I've always wanted to see. It's like we've seen big music festivals, but to have a little bit of everything join, that's the ultimate goal, right? So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
and I guess if my takeaway is that you guys have the ability to really and truly work together. That is so profoundly and extremely difficult here in the greater Los Angeles area, where they call La La Land. So really admire you guys for that.
Yeah.
Working together.
It's a testament to everything you guys have worked so hard for. So yeah, big congratulations on everything. Azael and Concrete Jungle Entertainment. I mean, it's a small empire that you have. So massive thanks. Junior and I are going to take you up, and we'll get a tour of it one of these days.
Do it. Jimmy still owes me one too.
Yeah, I do.
I've been inviting him for like 8 months already.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, thank you guys so much for making the time, and again, congratulations to you all. And Junior, thank you as always for everything you do.
Yes, sir.
And a big thanks to everyone out there for your ongoing support. Please do subscribe to this podcast series and our YouTube channel. Follow us at History of LA Ska on Instagram, and please join our Facebook group. Please follow this gentleman, Junor Francis, at Junor Francis.
And this series is produced by the Rockery Radio at Rockery_radio. Eric Kohler, he's the brains behind this. So really and truly want to thank everyone for your support. And you guys have really been an inspiration.
Indeed.
Really and truly. Yeah.
Yes. Until next time, be well, and please, to our viewers and listeners, get out there and support live music. Let's keep it vibrant. And until next time, gentlemen, thanks so much. Much love and respect.
Thank you, guys.
All right, take care. Have a great night.
You too.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Peace.
Take care.